Most people wait for destiny, as if it were a letter written somewhere else, waiting to be delivered. But Iqbal reminds us, destiny does not come to those who wait. It moves toward those who move. A destiny accepted passively shrinks the self. A destiny co-authored awakens it. In this episode, Iqbal shows that destiny is not a fixed script. It is a partnership between divine possibility and human will. What becomes possible expands only when the self grows, chooses, and commits. Destiny is shaped by daily discipline and revealed only to those ready to sustain it. This is episode 36 from Asra'i Khudi, Allama Iqbal's masterpiece on the awakening of the self. Today we explore destiny as collaboration, where effort becomes invitation, where clarity reveals opportunity, and where the self discovers that fate unfolds only for those who step toward it. Take a breath. Let the pace slow, and reflect on the destiny your becoming is preparing for you. Destiny is often imagined as a force outside the self, a script written elsewhere, a direction imposed, a path inherited. But Iqbal saw destiny as partnership, a collaboration between divine possibility and human will. The self that waits for destiny surrenders authorship. The self that acts joins creation. Destiny responds to movement. The self learns that fate is not fixed. It is flexible at the edges, firm at the center. Its center is law. Its edges are choice. The self realizes that choices accumulate. Accumulation becomes direction. Direction becomes character. Character interacts with destiny and shapes outcome. The self understands that destiny is invitation, not imposition. Invitation requires acceptance. Acceptance requires action. The self that believes it has no influence diminishes its own power. Belief shapes behavior. Behavior shapes path. The self sees that destiny does not rescue. Rescue is abdication. Destiny tests readiness. Readiness demands effort. The self learns that effort converts possibility into reality. Possibility without effort evaporates. Effort without vision wanders. Union births destiny. The self recognizes that destiny is revealed slowly. Revelation matches maturity. Unprepared souls cannot interpret direction. The self understands that destiny becomes visible only after commitment. Commitment sharpens perception. Perception notices opportunity. Opportunity seized becomes destiny unfolding. The self learns that waiting weakens will. Movement strengthens it. Strengthened will changes what is possible. The self sees that destiny is co-authored. God gives horizon. The self chooses steps. Steps create pattern. Pattern reveals purpose. The self realizes that surrender to laziness distorts destiny. Distortion requires correction. Correction demands humility. The self learns that humility aligns the self with truth. Truth reveals next task. Task completed advances the path. The self understands that destiny favors clarity. Clarity refines desire. Refined desire directs effort. Directed effort shapes future. The self observes that destiny is not random. It responds to inner architecture. Weak architecture collapses under pressure. Strong architecture holds shape. The self notices that small choices carry large consequence. Consequence teaches alignment. Alignment preserves coherence. The self learns that destiny amplifies sincerity. Sincerity gathers momentum. Momentum attracts guidance. The self realizes that destiny is discovered not by dreaming, but by doing. Doing uncovers structure. Structure reveals calling. The self understands that destiny punishes avoidance. Avoidance atrophies will. Atrophied will cannot respond to opportunity. The self sees that destiny flows where responsibility grows. Irresponsibility blocks movement. Responsibility clears path. The self begins to trust that destiny does not contradict effort. Effort clarifies direction. Direction aligns with truth. Truth supports destiny. The self learns that destiny requires courage. Courage enters uncertainty. Uncertainty reveals path. Path becomes identity. The self accepts that destiny is not gift. It is result. Result of persistence, alignment, and inner strength. The self realizes that to discover destiny, the self must become worthy of it. Worthiness grows inwardly. Destiny meets the self at its level of maturity. The self understands destiny waits, but it waits for movement. The self begins to understand that destiny responds to preparation. Preparation is quiet discipline. Discipline builds capacity. Capacity attracts responsibility. The self learns that destiny does not arrive when the self wants it. It arrives when the self can sustain it. Sustainability determines timing. The self recognizes that destiny requires readiness on 3 levels: clarity of intention, strength of character, and resilience of will. Intention without character wavers. Character without intention lacks direction. Will without resilience breaks under pressure. The self learns that destiny tests each element. Tests refined structure. Refined structure supports opportunity. The self notices that destiny reveals itself gradually. Gradual revelation forces patience. Patience deepens trust. Trust sustains effort. The self sees that destiny is not found in sudden miracles. It is found in patterns. Patterns shaped by choices. The self repeats daily. The self learns that repeated alignment forms trajectory. Trajectory determines horizon. Horizon reveals destiny. The self realizes that destiny hides within the self's potential. Potential activated converts possibility into path walked. Becomes destiny lived. The self understands that destiny resists the unfocused. Unfocused attention dissipates energy. Dissipated energy weakens influence. Weak influence misses opportunity. The self begins to cultivate focus deliberately. Focused attention multiplies strength. Strength sustained alters future conditions. The self learns that destiny respects those who take responsibility. Responsibility accepted expands capacity. Expanded capacity changes what the future allows. The self notices that destiny rarely arrives gently. It arrives disguised as demand. Demand reveals potential. Potential demands courage. The self understands that destiny requires obedience to higher purpose. Purpose aligned survives uncertainty. Uncertainty tolerated opens possibility. The self learns that destiny avoids the inconsistent. Inconsistency confuses direction. Confusion prevents emergence. Consistency earns clarity. The self realizes that destiny builds slowly. Because the self builds slowly, growth required cannot be hurried. Hurried growth collapses. Steady growth endures. The self sees that destiny collaborates with disciplined imagination. Imagination provides vision. Discipline provides structure. Union creates future reality. The self learns that destiny favors those who refuse to settle. Settling shrinks potential. Potential suppressed breeds restlessness. Restlessness invites correction. The self understands that destiny expands. When the self expands, inner expansion precedes outer opportunity. The self notices that destiny demands courage to abandon lesser paths. Lesser paths seduce comfort. Comfort delays becoming. Delay interrupts momentum. The self realizes that destiny requires the self to stop asking, "What will I receive?" and start asking, "What must I become?" Becoming determines receiving. Receiving without becoming destroys alignment. The self learns that destiny is sensitive to internal dishonesty. Dishonesty fractures coherence. Fractured coherence blocks flow. Flow restored requires truthfulness. The self understands that destiny is generous with those who persevere. Perseverance proves readiness. Readiness unlocks opportunity. The self sees that destiny rebukes anxiety. Anxiety anticipates collapse. Destiny demands trust. Trust stabilizes action. The self realizes that destiny strengthens those who confront fear. Fear faced becomes pathway. Fear avoided becomes prison. The self learns that destiny honors sacrifice. Sacrifice clarifies priority. Priority directs life. Directed life attracts meaning. The self understands that destiny deepens identity. Identity anchored remains steadfast. Steadfast identity shapes the future gently, but unmistakably. There comes a moment when the self realizes that destiny is not discovered through prediction. It is revealed through alignment. The self understands that alignment occurs when desire, duty, and discipline move in the same direction. Direction unified creates inevitability. The self recognizes that destiny is not accident. Accident lacks pattern. Destiny is pattern becoming. The self learns that destiny advances when the self refuses stagnation. Stagnation decays will revived reopens pathways. The self sees that destiny demands courage to release the past. Past clung to anchors identity. Past examined educates identity. Past released liberates identity. The self understands that destiny deepens when the self stops negotiating with fear. Fear distorts possibility. Possibility clarified restores freedom. The self realizes that destiny expands. As responsibility expands, responsibility matured. Increases influence. Influence directed constructs future. The self notices that destiny requires a steady heart. Restless hearts disturb direction. Steady hearts perceive subtle guidance. The self understands that destiny is shaped not by dramatic decisions, but by daily discipline. Discipline ingrains trajectory. Trajectory becomes fate. The self learns that destiny punishes indecision. Indecision fractures path. Fractured path weakens identity. Identity weakened cannot carry fate. The self sees that destiny strengthens when the self chooses truth over comfort. Comfort seduces. Truth stabilizes. Stabilized lives influence time. The self realizes that destiny emerges when the self becomes reliable. Reliability attracts trust. Trust extends reach. Reach shapes history. The self understands that destiny responds to depth. Shallow effort produces shallow outcome. Deep effort creates enduring effect. The self learns that destiny must be earned. Effort is currency. Integrity is weight. Weight determines endurance. The self sees that destiny matures when the self perseveres without visible reward. Invisible reward is transformation. Transformation confirms readiness. The self understands that destiny is never imposed suddenly. Sudden gifts break unprepared souls. Destiny arrives in proportion to stability. The self realizes that destiny demands a formed self. Unformed selves collapse under consequence. Formed selves carry consequence with dignity. The self senses that destiny aligns with those who honor time. Time honored multiplies opportunity. Time wasted diminishes possibility. The self understands that destiny requires courage. To walk alone at times, aloneness clarifies purpose. Purpose clarified compels movement. The self recognizes that destiny confirms itself through inner peace. Peace is not ease, peace is alignment. The self learns that destiny is not somewhere else. It is here, waiting for coherence. The self finally realizes destiny unfolds when the self becomes the kind of being who can sustain what fate offers. And in that becoming, the self participates in writing its own eternity.